So yeah, I just got back from Europe and had a lot of perspectives
Yeah.
from Europe
Yeah.
that made they're a lot different.
Where did
than
you?
the United States.
Where all did you go in Europe?
We went to Paris, Brussels, London, Amsterdam, and then Dusseldorf, Cologne area. I mean Dusseldorf, but we traveled around.
Is that Germany? That last one?
Yeah, there's like it's in North Rhine-Westphalia, which is which is like the most populated state, I think. And then there's like a bunch of different little cities that you've heard of, all right next to each other.
Yeah.
With a nice train system, so you can get around real quick.
Yeah, that's what I hear was really good about Europe is their trains. Is that true? Like everywhere that you found, or
Oh yeah,
just public transport?
And isn't this something how that you can just cross borders there too, like it ain't shit in the Schengen area, which is 26 European countries, and then you don't have to have a passport to travel back and forth, so you just get on the train in Amsterdam and go to Germany. And we had kids, so we didn't get like ticketed or stopped by cops, although they have a bunch of undercovers on those trains and shit. And policing definitely happens, but you don't need to use any passports.
When I was traveling in Europe back in 2006, I think it was. I mean, even then it was like pretty easy to move around for the most part. Like there wasn't like a whole lot of stops where they checked your like passport necessarily, like, you know, thoroughly or whatever. I mean, they stamped it or whatever, but like.
And the UK is not part of that, so you go to London and they're more like the United States. They were like the United States more than mainland Europeaners. In a lot of ways, I found, like first one was the passport shit. They had border patrol that was pretty bad. And they even questioned us with kids and was like trying to get us to like slip up or something, fucking like staring us down, you know, not entirely convinced we were innocent either. And then asked us the usual questions they do everybody else, even though we got kids. Like 4 and 6 years old. And then also when we went in there, motherfucker, well, first of all, they had great food from all types. It was like very multinational. There was a lot of bomb food there in London. And also folks fucking don't stare at you like they do in everywhere else in Europe. That's a cultural difference that was stark and blatant and obvious. In London, they didn't stare like they do in Paris and Brussels and Germany. They stare at you there, and it's not culturally unacceptable. In London, they kind of don't even make eye contact, which is even a little different than the United States too. We make minimal eye contacts and stuff like that. But the one stark similarity was there was tons of cops everywhere. Fucking walking around, driving around. It was like fucking everywhere. I was in, urban center London only. And all of the other cities we went to, it was like you couldn't find a fucking cop if you wanted to, like walking around, driving around. There's barely any cops compared to all the cities here in the United States.
It's like, I mean, it kind of makes sense given the history of of everything. Like we're still very, very like connected to them economically, and like in our world politics and stuff. We're generally pretty similar.
I think it points out and makes stark the contrast and like the whole ideology behind folks thinking that we need to have cops, because it's like you got fucking millions of people living in these huge cities and they don't need like a fraction of the police that we do, quote unquote need. And like it's safer, it's a safe place. You know what I'm saying? It's not the other way around, even though some people argue the opposite logic. But anyways, it just makes it really stark and obvious that we don't need these cops here everywhere. They don't fucking help anything. But you would say that it's like a similar amount of cops as in the U.S. though. In London, just London. Yep, and they they're on the Brexit stuff, so they have like the whole other center of capitalism, white centrism happening, just like the United States does too. That's another way that they're similar. But people in Paris, they fucking stare at you. And it's not unacceptable, so I'm not trying to diss, but it's like you don't do that here because like you get into fights over that. like literal fist fights or like getting shot, maybe even.
Yeah, that's true.
I've definitely got into fights from staring before, but yeah, they do it and they just sit there and stare at you. Folks in the subways, it's real interesting because they will push. I got pushed like a half a dozen times or something, 6 in one, half dozen in another. My kids got pushed a couple times.
In Paris?
In Paris, in the subway system, yeah.
You know, that happened to my stepbrother a lot. He was describing that when he went to Paris.
Yeah, that's what they do because they're in a hurry.
He also got like robbed a few times, like from like pickpocketing and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Didn't have any problems with that.
Yeah, well, he was alone when he was in like France. Like he didn't have any other like buddy or anything. So I mean, like he was kind of the perfect target.
Yeah, seems like they over-exaggerate it maybe too. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. This was
as a police state type of fucking propaganda.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and
there's signs everywhere, but I never got pickpocketed, so.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like I mean, he was on his own. He was, drinking a lot. Probably not like in his full like senses a lot. You know what I mean? Like. If you were someone that was a pickpocketer, it would be like, that's my mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, but the pushing thing was the thing that he also mentioned, was the fact that he just, felt like you got a lot of shouldering from people and stuff, just randomly.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about, but
and the metro's packed. I think it's just socially acceptable. It's not as unaccepted.
There's not. Maybe it's. Well, I guess it probably goes hand in hand with the staring thing. Maybe there's not as much of the ego or something attached to it.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know.
It's not moire.
Yeah.
It's not a moire like it is here.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's important.
It's impolite to stare here.
Yeah.
So say your parents.
Well, that's why it's nice to get the opportunity to travel, because you kind of get to see like a whole society operating on just slightly different rules.
Yeah,
which is nice to know. It's nice to know that there can be other ways that you can look at society. What I mean?
For real.
Yeah.
And let's see, in Paris, they have great food everywhere, though. It's like they got this dank ass
Paris
home cooked, like really nutritious food that's like everywhere, and it's not that expensive compared to the rest of the cities that we went to.
Yeah, well, that's where they had the giant food market that they're known for. You know what I mean? Like Anthony Bourdain always, whenever he had an episode in France or whatever, he'd be checking out that giant food market.
Oh, and
it's like a block large or something.
Yeah, cool. But
there
like
was just fresh ingredients for all of the.
But that was like it was like everywhere. There was like fruits and vegetable stands, like almost every other block or more, and there was cheese stores and fucking butchers with bomb selections of charcuteries.
I feel like
of course bakeries.
I feel like that it would just look cool. Like just look cool and be like a nice like relaxing stroll to walk by and see all those things.
Yeah, and get fresh fruits to eat in the hotel, whereas you can't do that really here in the States or any of those other countries. Didn't have as good access.
It wasn't Beauty and the Beast in France?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because there's the whole scene in where she's singing where like there's just all of this food all over the place. I remember as a kid thinking like, man, there's just so much food in that like little area,
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it's a market or whatever, the food market in a town like that.
Yeah.
But France is like, they're known for all the food stuff. I mean, they're like pros.
The one thing I would say is it was always like the same selections a lot, so you didn't see too many
favorites.
Oh yeah, and they also like they don't have a whole lot of multinational foods.
Okay.
And a lot of that has to do. So I was surprised by the percentage of black folks that were in Paris. I didn't realize there was that many black folks.
Yeah.
And like a lot of I bring that up because like they have like this tendency in France to have this. It's like strong nationalism, even though it may not come up as that. It comes out as like culture. They're like, we're all French. here. So like that
Uh-huh.
was part of the reason why. Well, there's a lot of anti-immigrant racism there and Charlie Hebdo
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah,
But
yeah.
also why like there was not that much multinational foods. And also like they're not as anti-black racist though there as the United States. So like folks who come
Yeah.
from Africa and have black skin and stuff are like considered French too to a large part as far as I understand it. I'm not an expert or anything like
Because
that.
are you talking about like people from like
Yeah,
colonies of
all the
France?
fucking colonies that are
Yeah,
black
yeah,
from
yeah.
Africa
That's the
and the
thing about
Caribbean too.
France. They have different relations with their colonies. I don't know the nuances of what their relations are with their colonies, but I mean, I'm more familiar with our relation to like Puerto Rico and Guam and all those things.
Yeah, but they have like this acceptance, and it's like comes out as nationalism, but it's like this culture because their shit's ancient, so they can lean on culture to push nationalism really hard.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like an example of like almost secular conservatism, if that's a thing. But like, like a secular state, but like they kind of act like conservative nationalist types in some senses. Like the way
Yeah.
like I know like it's probably been talked to death, but I mean the whole trying to ban the burkini thing, the swimwear at the beach.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
trying to ban. Yeah, yeah, and like that's something that seems very very extreme like here in the US, because like we're not about banning stuff in that way for especially when it comes to religion and stuff. There's the whole separation of church and state and stuff that we tout and all that stuff. But like yeah, they're so far the other way where it's like, no, this is an infringement on their rights. They're being like, they see it as, they're the person wearing the burqa as being, having their rights infringed upon by doing that. But like they're completely ignoring their own agency in choosing to wear a burqa, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a definitely a different approach to the culture, and yeah, I definitely see the like nationalism aspect of it sometimes when I'm reading these like news stories.
Yeah. So the food culture helps. They utilize that as sort of nationalism, and then also the other regular culture that they have as far as like how they socialize and shit like that. But there's not as much anti-blackness there as there is in the United States.
Uh huh.
They're fucking more. They're like their mental economy doesn't run on anti-blackness. There is anti-blackness there. Don't get me wrong. Another way that they sort of use culture to push nationalism. I don't know if you're aware. I think I might have mentioned this somewhere, but Trump got his idea for having a military parade in the United States after he went to France's Bastille Day that they have every year. And Bastille Day like is a celebration of when the revolutionaries in the 1790s, I think, stormed the Bastille, which is an old prison, and burnt it to the ground. But today they use it as a like imperialist fucking war propaganda machine because they have like they bring out all their military equipment and they march it down the street and they have these huge jet fucking performances by the Air Force or whatever they call it there. And so yeah, that's another way. And I saw the revolutionary like history of France being pushed to like argue against Gilets Jaunes, the Yellow Vest movement. A couple folks had done that to me because I have a song that's called Yellow Vests. So yeah, fucking that it's different the way the propaganda and the conformity and the liberalism or whatever comes out in Paris for sure.
Well, yeah, because I mean that's another way that we are similar, is that we use our Revolutionary War as like a mythical kind of jumping off point.
Yep.
That we like to celebrate as often as we can. That's why people are so fervent about the Pledge of Allegiance and like the the waving the flag and all the NFL stuff. Not wanting them to kneel and all that bullshit. Like it's all part of our like mythos of, you know, that one time where it seemed like we were good, you know.
Yeah.
And then but using that to like push, you know, whatever, you know, military industrial complex, I guess, just in general, you know.
Right,
just
right.
that nationality aspect of it.
But I did a show in Paris at Les Chinois. I contacted.
Chinois?
It was called Les Chinois.
Les Chinois?
And which is actually just mean the Chinese, which it's kind of interesting. You know, that's you shouldn't name something like that in English for sure.
Was there a reason it was called that?
Oh, I'm not sure about that, but I contacted this band that was called Somos Guerreras.
Yeah.
And fucking Somos Guerreras is like this group of 3 rappers, one named Rebecca Lane, one named Nakuri, and one named Audrey Funk. And they're like these feminist Latinx rappers.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, and they, you know, I like showed them my Fuck Ice song and asked them if I could open for them, and they said yes. They were nice enough to do that.
Yeah.
And they were dope. You know, they bring the crowd and shit. But yeah, it was a good show.
Was there a lot of people on the bill?
Not on the bill, but there was a lot of, you know, relatively a lot of people that came and stuff, and the crowd was great. I think Parisians know how to get down.
Oh yeah,
and like have a good time.
Land of Daft Punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I assume the nightclubs are amazing or something.
Yeah, I just got that one night out only.
Yeah.
The food comes out so fast out of the restaurants. It's like 5 minutes, and you got some like homemade dank ass shit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Because like I mean, like here you just expect that at fast food. When you get it fast, like when you're at out dining, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like I got to remember this place.
It doesn't go down like that. They don't sort of expect you to leave ever. You're allowed to sit there as long as you want. And freaking
I like that.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes I'm at like restaurants where like you just like barely finish eating and like they're giving you like the look, like, you know, get out of here. I need to fill another table.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I like to, you know, sit and chat with my friends for a while after we eat a lot of times, you know, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, you played in Paris and you also played in London, right?
Yeah, we played in London and it was a lot different in London.
Yeah.
The crowds were a little not as enthusiastic or getting down, which makes sense.
Yeah.
The cops there in London, they don't have guns, so that was interesting.
Oh yeah.
Everyone else has guns.
That's right. Yeah. It seems like I can barely even like conceptualize that in my mind just because of, you know, being in America, you know, in the United States, like just, you know, it's just assumed that like within a half mile of you, there's like going to be a handful of guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just the way it is. If I saw someone with a gun on their hip, I wouldn't be surprised.
Not here in Wisconsin, yo.
Yeah.
I was just at fucking Rockford on Saturday night. In Rockford, they have these things called Terry stops, and like they're like these fucking privately hired security guards that are allowed to go around and pat people down. They wear like bulletproof vests and they have like fucking handcuffs on their back. And they came in the spot where I was performing. It was called District Bar and Grill. They didn't pat me down, I guess, because I'm white, but they were patting down almost all the black folks they saw out on the street. And apparently this is legal for them to do in Illinois.
How?
Terry stops because of their fucking constitution, I guess. And like, you know, they got tasers, they don't have guns, but like that wouldn't go down here in Wisconsin like that.
Jesus.
Well, like you said, like there's more guns here in Wisconsin. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, there's plenty of guns here.
Well,
there's this gun culture where folks are
we probably have more of a hunting culture because like up north. But I mean, like that is
we got a violence culture too.
Well, that's like straight up like hiring fucking the Proud Boys to fucking do security or something. You know what I mean? Like they're these people that are like, you know, they exist as, you know, as a hate group, you know, male or Western chauvinists or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves. But like, sometimes they're hired as security for things. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, so you're hiring people whose like express goals are violence, like, and you're surprised when shit escalates.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what brings up like the podcast I went on in London. It was called the Dissident Island Radio. And they definitely were interested in hearing about sort of the gun culture here in the United States. I don't know if folks check that out. Check it out. Dissident Island Radio. It's a bomb show. They're on
did they have any thoughts
the Channel Zero network?
Yeah.
Which is a like anarchist podcast network.
Okay. Yeah, everyone check that out.
Yeah.
But did they have any thoughts on the gun culture in the US? Like what were they like? For instance, what do they think about like assault weapon bans or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, do they even have a thought about that debate?
Oh, I don't think so because
they're so far beyond that where they're at. Because
I mean, it's just so foreign to them, right? Just like the culture of Parisians, like pushing and staring, is to me when I went there. Yeah, they're like, oh, tell me about that. That's fucking interesting. Although one of them was, had lived in the United States.
Curious about it more.
Yeah, because then it's, even the one that lived in the United States, it's sort of changed in the last 5 years a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like they were interested in like why, like we do firearms training. They were interested in like, like the theory behind it, like what was it in response to something, or is it because of like anarchist principles that like anarchists in the United States tend to have firearms a lot of times? And the answer was like, for me personally, it was a response to being like threatened by folks who are heavily armed, including like right wingers, white supremacists, and like actual cops on Facebook.
Yeah,
that have been threatened by.
Well, yeah, I mean that's generally the like I don't know, part and parcel with the like leftist ideology is the idea of like only use only use violence defensively. It does, and sometimes it does come to violence, but I mean you're not trying to pick fights necessarily.
Yeah.
Like
yes, that's what they asked us about the 3%er rally.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, did y'all show up there armed, since there was a bunch of armed proto-fascists doing an open demo. And I think it was pretty surprising that you can just open carry too. I think that's like very foreign to folks who are like live in the UK. You hear like, oh, in Wisconsin it's pretty easy. You just open carry. You don't have to have any kind of fucking license.
Yeah,
you don't need any kind of paperwork to buy a firearm as long as you buy it from a peer here in Wisconsin.
I don't think there was anyone on the the counter protest side that was open carrying.
Not open carrying, no.
I know that there was one guy from the 3%ers that was like all soldiered up and had his.
Oh, it was more than one. I just released a video
15.
Of it. There was the 3 of them I think I got in the video showing them walking around. But my response to like why didn't you show up with open carry at the 3%er rally was like, I mean, blatantly obvious for folks who had just suffered the 2 white supremacist shootings have witnessed the 2 white supremacist shootings over the last weekend in El Paso and Dayton, Ohio, because it's like most of the fucking terrorism that happens in this country is from armed white dudes. And so, when you contemplate about, oh, should we go open carry? You got to take into consideration the optics behind like armed white hetero cis males coming in open carrying, even though like they're lefties or whatever. Like the optics of that are some that like make it an inhospitable space for a lot of different folks, including like non-males and frickin' people of color. Because that's just a scary thing. And then like the fucking white supremacist terrorism in this country is out of control, obviously. So that's why we don't show up with open carry. And that's not to like diss on our comrades who do that in like John Brown Club or nothing like that, but that's like a heavy part of the equation when we think about doing that. I think in my group anyways.
And it's like I was saying before, it's not something that like we're not here to flex.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for the sake of flexing.
More macho bullshit.
Yeah. That's where that I think comes from on their side, and on our side sometimes too. There's like definitely still some of that macho flexing stuff that leftists engage in unknowingly. That still haven't quite dropped all of the toxic masculinity baggage or whatever. You know what I mean?
That's why I like to do, fucking firearms training, but like gear it towards folks who like are not necessarily hetero cis white males, because there's just like an abundance of that anyways. You know what I'm saying? I don't deny them or be like they're not allowed or anything like that. Yeah. But yeah, I like try to do firearms trainings for folks who are like of oppressed identities and black folks and people of color. Yep.
It can be an empowering experience.
Yep. And then, just for folks who want to have some kind of say in defending themselves. Because, that's the thing. There's fucking guns everywhere here.
Yeah.
Not so much. The one comrade, So anyways, they were surprised to hear about like the open carry, and then also how you can buy guns here in Wisconsin without any kind of paperwork. So but like I was saying in my Twitter and Instagram folks feed, check me out on Twitter and Instagram, LITL Guillotine. Fucking common sense white supremacist control now, please. You know what I mean? That's what we need now. Can we get some common sense white supremacist control?
Yeah, we're a little overdue for that.
And that's of course like a play on the common sense gun control
I'm
measures.
A little slow, but yes, that's good.
On these summer nights, we ignite the fight. Remember your source of pride. Rainbow pigs aren't on your side.
What if I told ya? Certified soldiers, codified to shed blood. But I find shoulders, hidden revolvers, co-opted love. Try to find culture, stratified vultures, parasites marching pride. Part of that obscure fraternal order, logic that they belie. Sorta like tools, they're just for the rulers, troopers that make it fly. Couldn't find use, there's just no excuse, they're super racist and lie. They think your soldiers, how dare the imposter infiltrate all the prides. I'll be right out there as a co-actor, instigate Stonewall riots.
Summer nights, we ignite the fight. Remember your source of pride. Rainbow pigs aren't on your side.
Can't get enough militant chase strips away. Transphobia goes to your history mage. We don't see your throat, say you then you're enraged. Come closer, you're supposed to get slapped in the face. Trans women put their nails in, gay liberate. Blaze the trails, build the sails, then lead the way. They killing it, building it, turfs go away. Absurd that it's come to this, trans women are great. A boy, there's not more thought, it's right wing or hate. Your poor type of logic that's helping the state. It's more black trans females put seal on their fate. It's them that get killed and it's astro like rates. 100% in 2019 of all of the deaths that are done by their team. That's right, I done said it, I mean what I mean. The turf propaganda empowers slaying. The turf propaganda empowers slaying.
On these summer nights, we ignite the fight. Remember your source of pride. Rainbow pigs aren't on your side. Summer nights, we ignite the fight. Remember your source of pride. Rainbow pigs
But
aren't
what else did you guys
side.
talk about? Not
So
to rehash their podcast.
actually right. I talked about Trotskyism a little bit. I talked about my experience with the ISO slightly.
Oh, cool. You touched on that?
Yeah, touched on that, but
Fun.
we also
Just
talked
kinda-
about like the renters union that we're trying to start here in Madison Tenant Power.
Oh,
And like tactics.
tell me more about that.
So yeah, it's like starting it with
that might be
some-
rehashing a little bit, but I mean,
that's right.
I'm still learning about this
And this is all on Dissident Island Radio. Y'all should check it out.
Yeah, check out that podcast.
Um,
Pause this. Go listen to that.
No,
Come back.
Wait, no, this is live. They can't pause it. These folks, I'm talking.
Well,
to these
those
live
folks,
What's up, y'all?
you folks can't pause it, but you can download that podcast to listen to later.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Anyway,
but yeah, so it's like it's a rehashing, or it's like a revitalization of a tenant union that we had in Madison, Wisconsin in the 70s and shit, that actually had a lot of power, I guess, and did some good things, including like throw a block party right in front of like this one landlord's spot for like days, you know what I mean, until like he had to cave or whatever into the renters' demands. But yeah, we're trying to start it, and we encourage folks to contact us. Like, we have a Facebook page. I wish I knew the email off the top of my head, because we got like a flyer. I could drop that. I could plug that. But maybe I'll look that up in a minute. But yeah, so contact us. We're trying to run it kind of like a solidarity network where like just like in the 70s, it's going to be organized. There's going to be like organized by building, but there's also going to be a council too of like representatives from all the buildings that are going to get together and make decisions. And also the solidarity network aspect is that obviously folks from one building's like union will come and do actions at any person who's a member's fucking spot. I know folks in Milwaukee had like a good result doing these solidarity networks where they show up and do like pickets or protests and demonstrations on like landlords' properties, a lot of times in apartment building complexes.
Yeah.
And they've had
really
a few wins doing that.
Yeah, and it's and landlords get away with all sorts of stuff in Madison because of all the money that's involved and everything. Specifically, like, I've been hearing a lot about just discrimination, like discrimination based on being a person of color.
Oh yeah,
like bringing up issues like in the co-ops recently. I've been hearing about people maybe not getting renewed because of bringing up stuff. Just kind of. I've had friends that have experienced, outside of the co-ops, just renting in general. I've had friends that have experienced just the kind of weird discrimination that you experience as a person of color. Like I had one friend that didn't have had a very Mexican last name, and the person was kind of surprised at them when they like answered the phone, like as if they didn't expect them to be speaking the English like he expected them. You know what I mean? It was like clear that they were like treating them in a different way than they would another renter, and like they asked for like so much more documents and verification and all that. It really it's clearly seemed to be like he was just not wanting to rent to him just because of his background. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's jacked up.
Yeah. Or wanting extra information from him, just based on that, because like the other person in the situation didn't get nearly the same like treatment, even though their like credit was way worse, and like so yeah, I mean that's the thing is like, I mean it's definitely important to bring attention to these things, and hope that the what is it called that you were
Dissident Island Radio?
No, the renters.
Oh, Madison Tenant Power.
Yeah. I would say, I don't know, it sounds like the tactics you're talking about just kind of reminded me of like, maybe that's, something that we really need right now.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So it's Madison Tenant Power at protonmail.com. If folks are like in the Madison area and interested in joining a tenant union and organizing along, against landlords basically, who are like in a lot of ways worse than the regular capitalists, than the employer capitalist class, if you will.
Yeah.
So check that out, Madison Tenant Power. But yeah, they were they brought that up on Dissident Island Radio, and also freaking brought up. Obviously, the reason that they even mentioned or wanted to talk about that is because they have a lot of tenant organizing happening in the UK across the campuses. For instance, there's a movement.
Yeah.
That's been, and they're doing like rent strikes already, which is pretty militant. Yeah. Like, don't pay fucking rent until they get demands. You got to be highly organized to do that, because it's like, if you don't have a lot of units on board with that, you don't really have a threat to the landlord at all. But if the landlord's gonna like, and I should study more. I'm sure there's other aspects to it too. But in that case, it's like the state is the landlord or some kind. Because they're doing it on campuses in the UK, so there's some like different legal aspects to how like the tenant landlord relationship functions in that situation.
Yeah.
So then we went over to Brussels, saw a peeing thing. They drink a lot in Brussels.
What now?
A peeing statue called Mannequin Piss. Janica Piss, which is like the little girl peeing statue. Oh. It's interesting. And then they have the Grand Place. But folks get down in Brussels. They party. They have like this Delirium Alley. It's like a whole city. That's real interesting.
What is that?
Oh, Delirium, the brewery? They have...
the brewery. Okay.
Delirium Tremens is one that's super popular. It has a pink... The bottle has like this pink on it, and there's elephants on it.
Okay. So they have a whole city?
It's like a block, and they have like 4, 5, 6 bars that are all just Delirium. There's like the Tequilita.
That's pretty
that
epic.
has all tequila, and then there's like this huge bar with brew, and there's these other cocktail bars as well.
Dude, that sounds awesome. I need to go on another trip to Europe at some point, because like when I went, I was still kind of young, and I wasn't in my party mode yet. Yeah. So I mean, I was around a few parties, but like I didn't really, I didn't go wild or anything. But I need to go to Europe and drink some good brews.
Some good brews, and I met some people. That was fun. But the one thing that was really interesting and has to do with sort of social reproduction theory and social services in general that I noticed that was a lot different in like many cities in Europe was that there was like shit for water fountains anywhere, and like, well, obviously there was not obviously, but there was like no air conditioning barely anywhere. And also like the public bathroom situation was really bad as well.
Yeah,
there's like no public bathrooms, or you got to pay €1.
Yeah,
and even the ones that you pay €1, they're far and few between. It's like in Paris, folks like piss in the street. Even if you're like middle class folks, it's not that it happens a lot. And it's like, no fucking wonder why it happens. So like the spot you go to look for like a bathroom is a fast food restaurant, and there they always have like, it's like 70 cents or like €1 to use the bathroom, and they have like turnstiles there, and there's always an attendant there to give change and everything too. But that happens all the time, and that's just and the water fountain situation was stark to the point where it's like, okay, this makes no sense. I'm like wondering, what do they do before bottled water? I guess people just drank shitloads of wine, or they're just all dehydrated. I think they might be a lot more dehydrated, but and they joke because they, Parisians and lots of Europeans make fun of Americans because like we have fucking air conditioning everywhere, right? Every fucking where. It's more swampy here in Wisconsin for sure. And it's like hella humid,
but turning into a swamp more and more every year.
In the meantime, fucking in France last year, 1,500 people died from heat stroke. Just last year, and there's been like many thousands over the last 10 years, and I think it's also been increasing in heat. But these are deaths that are like really easily preventable if there was just access to cold, not even cold water, but water, and also air conditioning for like a couple hours a day, and on these like fucking 90, 100 degree days. But they just don't have that anywhere, and it just seemed a little backwards to me.
Well, I was about to say that's one of the things that like people from outside of the United States will always compliment. From what I understand, is our bathroom situation, our plumbing situation, our water, and all that.
Yeah, the water.
Like we apparently have some of the most like liberal bathroom like rules.
Yeah,
you know what
access.
I mean? Besides the people that are trying to get trans people out of bathrooms or whatever.
Yeah,
fuck those
right.
guys.
The bathroom
but I mean,
politics. Behind gender.
Beside those guys, in general, it's just like, use the bathroom. I mean, if you're in like a really populated city area like downtown Chicago or something, then you're probably not going to be able to just use their bathroom. You'll have to buy something or in order to use a bathroom.
But you just go to a library or
there's usually
even in airports,
fast food spot nearby.
Airports didn't have water fountains and shit.
Airports didn't.
They had a bathroom, but you still had to buy the bottled waters.
What?
I felt like it was a tourist trap.
Well, it's water is. It's just I guess maybe we take it for granted, but I mean water is it's so important to being healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
you're
supposed to drink a half gallon or a gallon or something a day.
I don't know. 8 cups a day.
But you're supposed to drink. You're supposed to drink a lot of water. And then that keeps your skin hydrated. That that keeps your, just in. I don't. I just can't imagine not always having a glass of water nearby.
And it's leading to death in a lot of cases. The hotel we stayed at in Amsterdam, it was so hot in there. Not only did they not have AC, but they didn't have basic ventilation design, civil design, engineering. Yeah. And then I was like,
we have a lot of space out here.
Oh yeah, we just got fucking melted up in there. And also, it's not all their fault because it's not this hot. We actually experienced the hottest day in Amsterdam in recorded history. We were there for that. And the whole week was just that. God. So it was meltingly.
Yeah, and back in Wisconsin, we have finally one of the coolest summers we've had in a while.
Oh yeah,
but
right.
The world's on fire.
Yeah,
it's just for once it's not happening right here at all.
Yeah,
it's been mostly just cool the past couple of weeks.
In Amsterdam, though, I was really impressed. That was by far the most beautiful city that we went to.
Oh, it's
the fucking canals.
It's so pretty. It's such a pretty
and all the
town.
Architecture.
Yeah, just walking around Amsterdam is just amazing.
It's just all the partying shit precedes its beautiful reputation. So I was really surprised that it was so beautiful.
Yeah, that's true. Usually you hear about I got fucked up in Amsterdam, but there's just it's a beautiful town regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a, I don't know, it's like a crossroads of culture, right? Historically.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of random. No. I don't know. Wait. Were the Bohemians? Was that in
oh, that's
Amsterdam?
Some ancient shit, huh? Yeah. But
yeah.
They're definitely the originators of mercantilism because
that's
part of
that's what I'm talking about.
The canal system
it's at a really
enabled
strategic
them
point
to do all the they were able to get these huge boats from these colonies that they exploited and murdered millions of people over. And then they were able to build these huge warehouses and they basically perfected mercantilism and colonization quicker, and that's where they sort of got all their wealth and everything.
I guess I'm putting my rosy kind of eyed view on history.
But that's why those canals were so useful, and they actually tried to implement a canal system in Jakarta.
Everywhere in the world throughout history, water, rivers, canals, all that, that is
before the plane or whatever, and the train.
Yeah. Well, but even still today, it's still pretty places near big areas of water are still pretty important. Yeah,
for sure.
And energy and
their bottlenecks,
all sorts of random
goes
shit.
On even with that. But they tried to implement a canal system in Jakarta with their colonial asses, and I know a lot of the canals are dried up because they just didn't work because of the land situation. And,
they
didn't end up a boost to the economy as much as it did in Amsterdam. For a number of reasons, but it failed. So they tried to implement their colonial logic in their colonies, and it didn't take off as good. But yeah, they were some early capitalists for sure.
Yeah. That's where I usually hear in the context of, I think, is just, people getting together. There's a lot of goods there from a lot of places.
Yeah. Trade city, and then in Germany,
and a place where you can do a lot.
We went to Dusseldorf.
The laws are a little more lax in certain ways.
Yeah,
like Casablanca or some shit.
We went to Dusseldorf, Germany, which is like a famous mustard here in the United States, anyways. And over there they put ketchup on their brats.
Famous in Wisconsin for sure.
Yeah, over there they put ketchup on their bratwurst, which is and then a little curry powder, and they call it currywurst. And that's like something that is like frowned upon in Wisconsin area.
Sounds
like
pretty good, actually.
It was alright. I got a few.
Yeah.
I do prefer mustard on my brat though.
I've been fucking around with curry lately.
Yeah, it was curry powder. It wasn't really. It's not like curry.
That's a little like I'm not sure how that would like taste on the palate.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was I don't know. We wouldn't do that. It was a lot of curry powder
and
hot
paprika
and
on top of something.
A lot of fucking ketchup, and they always sliced it up too. They call it currywurst.
Did the ketchup taste any different?
Not in Germany.
No, just pretty much just what you'd expect.
Everything was sweeter everywhere.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how their colonies affected their food culture too.
Yeah.
The Dutch have like a lot of sugar in their food culture.
Yeah.
That has to do with colonizing.
Yeah. What is it?
Some of the early economic fucking pushes for colonization.
Was that the East India Company?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Dutch and East India Company.
Yeah. That whole shebang.
But there was, we went to Brussels in Belgium, and King Leopold in Belgium was one of the worst violent colonialists, and as far as what happened in the Congo, which is what they if you read Into the Heart of Darkness and see the movie called Apocalypse Now, they touch on that. Although Apocalypse Now represents it in the frame of Vietnam, but it was written about King Leopold's excursions in the Congo. But in Brussels, I read that people are quiet, they're not loud and stuff like that. They don't cough. They try not to. They don't what is it called? Pop their.
Oh man, I could.
Their knuckles, crack their knuckles.
I wouldn't survive in that culture very long.
And then I saw some Congolese folks who were flying a Congolese flag on Sunday night, and they were partying, and they were blocking traffic. They were being really loud outside, and I was that was a form of resistance in a way. And that was pretty cool because I know of the history there, and they've got the colonial guilt thing where they let folks from Congo live in Belgium without much hassle.
Yeah, there's a lot of that colonial stuff stuff still people think about some people think about history in a weird way where it's what happened in the past is in the past and that's that. But there's still plenty of people in the world alive that remember, colonialism or are still experiencing it. You know what I mean? And it's it's still an ongoing problem that we need to talk about, reparations have not been made, really.
That's right.
And I know I think I brought this up with you before, but How to Hide an Empire. You should really listen to that book on tape or something.
Okay, yeah.
But they go over basically what we're talking about in reference to these European countries, the same stuff in the context of the United States since late 1800s and stuff.
Yeah.
But in really great detail.
Yeah, I've heard that recommended a number of places.
Yeah.
So it comes highly recommended. By
mostly
some good comrades.
mostly it's just got a lot of just good info.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we went over to Germany, and in Germany they don't even serve tap water at restaurants really.
Oh yeah. I was telling my coworker about that.
All of Europe was like that. Well, in Paris it was a little easy because you say un carafe de eau, s'il vous plaît. It's give me and they would give you tap water. That's culturally a part of their thing. In Brussels, they did the same. You could ask for tap water. But I don't know.
Do most people? I was gonna say, do most people just order like the carbonated water? Then?
Yeah, everyone's getting the carbonated water, which is like another thing. It was like you can't drink that stuff as fast. That's another thing that like leads to dehydration. I don't know. That's just my speculation, but
well, I was gonna say,
like if I had to drink that all the time, I wouldn't drink as much water.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
I didn't.
But there's a lot of I don't really like this sparkling water as much either. But like there's a lot of I have a lot of friends. Well, I have a lot of friends that love it. Like the Klarbrun.
Yeah, but they're not drinking it as instead of water though, right?
Well, I mean I don't think all the time, but I mean I think sometimes they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes they're like, "Oh, I want water with a little tiny flavor or something in it."
Oh yeah, and this doesn't have flavor though.
Yeah, but then they also
and they call it gas. You want gas in your water or not?
Yeah,
they say that a lot.
Yes, that's right because the way because gas is just
a gas. Like in chemistry and physics.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they call gasoline petrol.
Carbon dioxide.
Petrol, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they don't see over here. We use the term gas for petroleum. So, like, we don't use the term gas as much when talking
in water, carbonated water.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like another weird cultural context thing.
Yeah. They asked my daughter, who's 6, if she wanted gas in her water. Laugh? She was like, "What the fuck?" She just didn't understand. I had to explain it to her. Yeah.
Was there a lot of that? A lot of explaining to the kids?
Oh, I don't know. Not really.
Do they have a lot of questions, or were they just more like taking in the sights and?
Yeah, they like the Eiffel Tower a lot. Gotta go back.
Oh there. Yeah, I bet that's really magical as a kid.
Yeah.
I still haven't had a proper vacation to France, but I gotta find a way to get out there.
Get it done.
If anyone wants to take me to France.
So,
yeah. So you had the show at the Fiddler's Elbow, right?
Yeah, Fiddler's Elbow in London.
Yeah.
So that was a good show.
Yeah.
That I did a 30-minute set at.
Oh, nice.
And then I was with Olga Helek. Who does this really cool violin looping show.
Oh, those
where
are
she
cool.
Loops multiple violin tracks and then does some singing.
It's pretty impressive when you see someone do that.
Olga Helek was the shit.
Yeah.
I got that gig by just contacting the venue place. I didn't bring out that many people in that one, so I felt bad about that, but it was dope.
Well, I
got a shirt.
I feel like if you brought out any people, it's pretty impressive considering that you're from the United States.
Yeah.
You're going way out there. You know what I mean? Like that's.
No, I don't think I did.
You don't think anyone?
I don't think I brought anybody.
well, I mean that's
Maybe.
what I'm saying. Like it's like that's hard to do. You know, like someone like just get a crowd to come see you who've never seen you like in person or heard of you.
I had some Facebook comments.
They've never had like a friend that saw you live or anything yet. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
I did have some Facebook comrades that I've interacted with on Facebook that couldn't make it. I invited them. Yeah. But then I met this band from France, Fill in the Blank, and we smoked some CBD buds after the show and shit.
Fill in the Blank. I like that band name.
Cognac. They're from Cognac, France. Excuse me.
Oh, Cognac's
and one of them,
a place?
Yeah. Yep. Just like Champagne is a region. Champagne. But anyways, Courvoisier from Cognac, France, and the one of the band members makes cognac and shit. So that was hot.
Nice.
But they said they'd give me shows in Cognac.
Yeah.
So I got to go make it out.
You got to do another tour.
Yeah, it wasn't a tour. It was vacation, family vacation, and then I did some shows while I was out there. Yeah, so that's why I was able to experience culture and report back a little bit.
Yeah.
But in Germany, they had the Uber drivers. They took our kids, but they were complaining about it because it's illegal for even 6-year-olds old as long as you're under a certain weight. They have to be in a booster seat which isn't the same laws here in the United States.
Huh.
So like my 6-year-old had to be in a booster seat.
Wow.
One of them said till they're like 12, and another one said, but they didn't like that, so we stopped calling Ubers, even though we should have been not using Ubers anyways. But it was really easy. Didn't know how to talk to folks, and the app does the talking.
Yeah.
Lifestyle
when you don't
politics.
speak the language.
Yeah. Plugs.
Plugs.
We're meeting every Sunday at 4:30 at the Social Justice Center.
Yep. That's
GDC.
True. That is true. It's on Willie Street.
Every Sunday,
Sunday,
we're
yeah.
doing something there, whether it's at the Social Justice Center, whether it's a reading group or an organizing meeting.
What's the current reading group?
We're doing Captive Genders, which is about like trans identity and the prison industrial complex.
Yep.
So
yeah.
check that
There's
out.
been a lot of TERFs, right?
Yeah, TERFs. We're gonna do
anti-trans stickers going up.
Yeah,
in
so
the Madison area. Keep an eye out, people, and rip them off if you see them.
So we're doing we're gonna do like Trouble from fucking Submedia. They have like this podcast or this video series they do, where it's like talking about anarchist politics and philosophy in a video format, which is really dope. We're gonna do a screening of that and have conversations around that soon in lieu of like reading stuff.
All right.
So that should be lit.
All right, and then I got my a couple of podcasts, Hero Worship, which I just put out an episode about my grandpa, and I got the second part of that coming out soon. And then Rolling Stoned, we got like 17 episodes out now, so please check that out. You can binge it now 'cause there's enough. Go to anchor.fm/Rolling Stoned podcast. Or just, Google Rolling Stoned, go to YouTube, type in Rolling Stoned. I got most of the episodes up. Please give it a listen and share. It's just a bunch of improv comedy with some sound effects and some silliness. And, I put a lot of time into it. I hope you guys enjoy it.
I've got also my album, which is called fucking Free to Starve in the Street. Is out on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Tidal, Deezer, and some other spots. So check that out. Lil Guillotine, Free to Starve in the Street, STARVIN.
Yeah, download it at all of those places.
Yeah. Listen, download.
Yeah, just in case.
Peace out and have a good week.